I've recently started working through some things in therapy, and at my last session, I noticed something very interesting. I wanted to sit down and share a little bit about that with you guys. Hi, I'm KB, and I live in New Zealand with my husband Steve and this little one here, Aria. Say hello, Aria. This week I had a flash therapy session with my therapist. If you want to know more about that, what that entails, I will leave a YouTube link in the description below. But I don't really want to go into what the procedure is. I really just wanted to share what my experience was like. Because it wasn't the actual session that I thought really affected me. It was how I felt the next day that surprised me the most. I'll just tell you a little about what happened in our session, but I won't go into a lot of detail. I basically had to think of a lesser trauma than what I'm actually in therapy for. And then we practiced the procedure. Oh, I had to give it a score out of 1 out of 10. So 10 being the highest trauma I have experienced. And then we practiced the procedure, and then I had to go back and think about how the trauma, give it another score. And we did that a couple of times, and by the time we'd finished, the score had come down 4 points. After our session, I was really tired. I felt exhausted, actually, and I didn't sleep particularly well that night either. I kept thinking about the session, and it kept, I just couldn't get back to sleep. And I remember wondering whether anything had actually happened. But even though I didn't sleep very well, when I woke up in the morning, I felt really refreshed. I felt energized, and I thought, wow, that's very interesting. I've been thinking quite a lot about what happened afterwards and trying to understand exactly what feels different. The way I feel now when I think about that trauma that we discussed yesterday in the therapy session, it's just different. I'll see if I can describe it. It's hard to describe. It's almost like if you asked me to describe it to you, I'd still be able to describe to you what happened. But the vivid images that used to be attached to that, I can still see them, but they're not as right in my face. It's like before. It felt, when I thought about it, it was really intense, and I got images flashing, and it was very emotional. Now it feels like it's not that I can't remember that it happened. I can remember what happened, but it's not as intense. It was amazing. If that's the way the process can work on a small traumatic event, I'm just imagining if that could work on the trauma that I'm seeing this therapist for, that would be amazing. That would be life-changing, actually. So I'm feeling very hopeful. As I said, this is only a small, almost like a practice session. I haven't seen my therapist since we did the session. So when I go back to see her, she's included EMDR in my therapy, for my therapy plan for the next 2 years. So I'm really hopeful. That could just be life-changing. And speaking of my future therapy, in my last video, I explained that my therapist has come up with a 2-year action plan, and it had to be approved. And I got the good news a couple of days ago that it's been approved. So that's amazing news. So happy about that. I just couldn't ask for more. And I think that's why this has actually made me feel quite hopeful, because if something can shift with something that wasn't even particularly high on my scale, then I started wondering what might be possible with some of the things that have been much harder for me. I know this isn't going to happen overnight, and I don't expect one session to change everything, but it's given me a little bit of hope. And I think that's what I'm really interested in now, is seeing where this journey takes me. That's where we are at the moment. This isn't about one session and everything being perfect. I realize that this is a journey, and I'm looking forward to taking the time to work on myself rather than expecting everything to change overnight. And for the first time in a while, I feel quite curious about what's going to happen next. So that's where I am right now, one session in, a lot of work to do, but I'm looking forward to see where this journey takes me. If you get to the end of the video, I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate a thumbs up if you like the video. If you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it also if you could subscribe to the channel if you'd like to follow along with my journey. I've started a playlist for this journey I'm beginning. It's called KB's Healing Reset at 58. If you're interested in seeing any of the videos in this series, you can check that out here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next week with another update. Bye for now.